It started with something so small, so seemingly harmless, a late-night conversation at work, a shared drink after a stressful day, a smile that lingered too long. I told myself it was nothing, that I loved my husband, Daniel, and that 30 years of marriage couldn't be threatened by a moment of weakness. But moments have a way of multiplying when you feed them. One drink became two, one conversation became dozens of messages, and before I could recognize myself in the mirror, I had crossed a line I swore I never would. The affair wasn't glamorous. It wasn't even about love. It was about feeling seen, noticed in ways Daniel no longer had time for between bills, grandchildren, and his endless overtime. The man I betrayed him with, Eric, was no better than a shadow, someone who whispered empty flattery into my ear. And yet, I let it happen. I justified it, buried the guilt, told myself Daniel would never find out. But secrets rot. And mine did. One evening, Daniel came home early. I'll never forget the way he looked when he walked into our bedroom and found me hunched over my phone, deleting messages, my hands shaking. He didn't need proof. My guilt was written all over my face. Still, he asked, his voice breaking. Who is he? I tried to deny it, but Daniel's eyes, those eyes that had looked at me with nothing but love for 3 decades, pierced through every lie. Finally, I broke. I told him everything. The late nights. The hotel. The betrayal he never deserved. He didn't shout. He didn't throw anything. He didn't even cry. He just stared at me as though I had ripped away the woman he thought he knew and replaced her with a stranger. His silence was worse than rage. 30 years, he whispered finally, his voice raw. 30 years I gave you everything. And you gave me this. I reached for him, desperate, trembling. Daniel, please. It was a mistake. I love you. It meant nothing. But he flinched away as though my touch burned him. Don't say you love me. Don't you dare. You don't destroy someone you love. That night, he slept in the guest room. The next morning, he barely looked at me as he left for work. His coffee sat untouched on the counter, the same cup I had made for him every day for years. That was when the reality hit me. I had broken something I could never mend. The days turned into weeks, and though Daniel still lived under the same roof, he was gone. He ate in silence. He walked past me without meeting my eyes. He no longer called me by my name, just you. As if saying Anna was too intimate, too painful. Our conversations, when they happened, were about bills, the house, or our children. Never about us. Sometimes, I would catch him staring at me when he thought I wasn't looking. His gaze was cold, distant, like he was studying a stranger who had invaded his home. And in a way, that's exactly who I had become. The wife he once loved no longer existed in his eyes. I thought time would heal, that eventually his anger would soften into forgiveness. But every day his silence grew heavier, his distance sharper. He didn't yell. He didn't break down. He simply erased me piece by piece, until I no longer recognized myself either. One evening, I tried again. I stood in the kitchen, tears streaming down my face, and begged, Daniel, please talk to me. Hate me if you have to, but don't shut me out like this. He finally looked at me, his eyes hollow. His voice was calm, but it cut like ice. You want me to hate you? I don't. Hate takes energy. Love takes trust. I have neither left for you. And then he turned and walked away. I sank to the floor, sobbing, realizing the cruel truth. My affair hadn't just broken our marriage. It had erased me from his heart. The man who once held me like his whole world now looked at me, as if I were nothing more than a stranger who had stolen 30 years of his life. And the worst part? He wasn't wrong.